Okay, so welcome to MadeMuscle Motivation, and I nearly forgot there. I don't know how, but yeah, MadeMuscle Motivation. I literally forgot the episode, but obviously I can check back at some of the videos. I could check back at my last video, and then obviously I'll know exactly what episode it is, and you'll see there. You'll be able to see it anyway, what episode it is. So, with that being said, let's go. Today I wanted to touch on like family. Okay, how to kind of deal with family members who are on and off with you, or they're just funny for no reason, or maybe there's a reason. Maybe you fell out before, but you tried to engage with them, you tried to talk to them, you've said sorry for the past, you've changed, they can see you've changed, but they're just funny towards you. First off, I want to start off with, just kind of delving into the reality of people who have family members that are distant, and it could be for any type of reason, but I just want to kind of touch on that because there's many people who can relate. So I mean, if you have family members who are, they're distant, they're funny towards you, sometimes they're on and off, the best thing to do is just be patient, because if you're not patient, you'll end up either doing the same thing that they're doing, or you want some type of revenge. You want to confront them, openly, which is the worst, like in front of friends or family, and you embarrass them without trying to, but it's just you can't help it because it's been in you so long. You've kind of just had this outburst, and you've just told them exactly what's in your mind, and sometimes it's best not to do that. In fact, it's actually not good to do that at all. So I mean, I know a lot of people get frustrated. They want they want to have this happy family, which is not reality. Let's be real. Maybe with your family, in the sense that you might have kids, you're with your wife or your spouse or whatever, and everything's fine at home, everything's fine, but you got family members elsewhere. It could be your parents, it could be your uncles, could be your aunties, could be your cousins, could be your brothers and sisters, and blood siblings, right? Blood brothers, blood sisters, and you got issues with them. There's problems. Time and time again, you try to reach out to them, but they're a bit funny towards you. And it's like, maybe you've kind of just noticed that it's only you, and you got like brothers and sisters where, like one brother is like treated like he's king, and then when it comes to you, you're just treated like dirt, and these things happen a lot. This is very common, and my advice to you is kind of just to maybe take a step back and cut all the assumptions out, because many of us do that, and kind of just look at reality. Like, just think to yourself, is this really happening? Like, where can I kind of see if it's like blatantly done on purpose? It could be coincidence that some things happen, and you might be saying to them, look, can I come round this weekend? And then they're like, no. Then you say it the week after, no, but they got a reason for it. They're just like, this has happened, I'm sorry you can't come around today. This has happened, sorry you can't come around today. And you're there thinking, but hold on, I've got children. Like, don't you want to see your, like, for example, if it's grandparents, you're like, don't you want to see your grandkids? You haven't seen them for years. Or if it's your brother, it might be your brother that's funny towards you, or your sister, and you might just be like, hold on, like, don't you want to see your nephew? Don't you want to see your niece? You haven't seen them for years. You never reach out to them. You never speak to them. You never, video call them. You never just send a text or tell them to phone you. You never do any of that. And it's like, are we not family? That's what you might think to yourself. And you're upset because you just kind of want them to know your brothers, or know your, like family members, because sometimes it's and this is another problem as well. You might have, say for example, you're married, right, and your spouse has a family who is very tight. They're all together, always like family reunions or whatever. They're always getting together, always like something's going on, and you could see they never fall out and everything's all good, and then you compare that family, your spouse's family, to your family, and you think to yourself, hold on, why is my family like this? And sometimes you could become a little envious. This is reality. I'm just being honest with you. Whether you like to hear it or not, you could be a person who doesn't envy anyone in the world, but when this happens, you can feel a little envy towards your spouse, and that's not good, because you might say things that can offend her or him. You know what I mean. So it's very important to kind of have that level of, be level-headed and just be like, you know what, it is what it is. This has happened for a reason. Some type of reason is maybe for me to kind of gain more strength, because as they say, when you go through a lot of stuff, you get stronger. The stronger you get, what don't kill you makes you stronger, right? That's the saying. So we have to just kind of realize that, okay, this has happened to me in my life, but there's people that are worse off. They're going through abuse. It's not just like for you it might be mental abuse, which is bad. Everyone says that's worse than physical abuse. But let's be real, let's be honest. At least with mental abuse, it might stick with you and stuff like that. But let's be real, physical abuse is very, very bad. And there's levels to it. It could be like beaten up, like a violent relationship or something like that. It could, it could be, sexual harassment. It could be rape. And that's the worst out of them all, right? Because that sticks with you forever, right? And and so there's violent relationships. But let's be real, and when I say forever, I mean in this world, right? I don't mean for eternity, but in this world. So it's just very important for us to kind of deal with things, or learn to deal with things, because it's not going to happen overnight. But you can learn, you can gradually, get there to the point that you're like, okay, I'm not done with them. They're in my life. I don't want to distance myself from them completely. It might be a thing where, I slow down the phone calls. I'm not going to call every day because it seems as if I'm some type of torment to them, and I don't want to feel like that. So let me just not call for a bit and let them call, or, all that kind of stuff. And, what I mean? I just feel like if you learn to, eventually you're going to grow within yourself, and you're going to learn to deal with things. And I feel like when it comes to family, it's a lot more harder than dealing with friends, for example. It's quite easy, to be honest with you, it's quite easy to kind of cut off friends. But when it comes to family, you can't cut them off, okay? And it's like, I know a lot of people can. I personally couldn't, you know what I mean? It's very difficult to cut people who are very close to you, right? And even like when it comes to my beliefs, Islamic beliefs, right? What we believe is that you can't cut ties at all. You're not allowed to. It's actually, some scholars say it's a major sin, right? I'm not sure if it's all the scholars, but from what I've heard, a lot of scholars, they say it's a major sin, right? And we don't want to go down that route. So this is very important to kind of, maybe give a gift, or, if you feel like you can't do that because it's so hard because of what they've done to you, or, because you got abused when you was younger, or mental abuse, or, physical, mental, all that kind of stuff. And it's like, you feel trapped, and you feel like, you feel anger and animosity towards them, but you got to get rid of that for yourself, not just for other people, but for yourself. It will make you feel better. And yeah, that's, what I mean, that's it really. You got to think about yourself. Self comes first, no doubt about it. And then obviously, you have to just look after yourself. Let's be real, because in order to look after yourself, you can obviously, or rather, when you look after yourself, you can look after others, because you're mentally stable. You know what I mean. Your self-worth means everything to you, and you value yourself more. Therefore, you kind of value everyone else, and in that sense. But most importantly, you kind of put yourself first, right? And but I know obviously when you have a family, it becomes different. You kind of become selfless. Do you know what I mean? So you kind of put your family first, which is all good. For me personally, everyone's different, but I kind of like, depends on what we're talking about here, but family play a big part. So when it comes to obviously your children and your spouse, they're like the main people in your life, but obviously the mother is the main You know what I mean? For me, and I'm sure many people, the mother or the father, you know, is top priority, right? But and it becomes difficult if you got problems with your parents now, because I ain't even touched on that, because like I said, they got to be like the main priority. That's your parents, yeah. They raised you as kids, you know what I mean? As you, when you was a baby, they wiped you, you know what I mean? They changed you, you know what I mean? They took care of you. But like I said, abuse. Some people, they had a rough life from early, from a baby, you know what I mean? And they've gone through so much, and therefore, you know what I mean, they kind of grow up to just be different, and like you have issues and all that kind of stuff. And you know what I mean, if you're not looked after in a good way from when you're little up to your like teens, it's going to be crazy for you. By the time you're an adult, you're wild, you're doing all sorts. And you don't even know the reason why you're doing it. You don't know why you're taking drugs. You don't know why you're sleeping with this person. You wake up in the morning with the next person. You don't know why you're doing all these things. It's because you've gone through a lot too much. Way too much. You've seen way too much from a baby to a teen. You've seen way too much. You know, whether it be homicide. Some people see murders, right? Violent relationships, abuse. You've gone through them. Your parents have gone through them. You've seen it. You've been there, you've done it, you've got the trophy, or not the trophy rather, because it's nothing to be proud of. But you know what I mean, you've been in violent relationships. You know, some people, like I said, they've been raped. All these kind of traumas that, you know, that people go through from young, you know, from really small to they become adults, right? And even some people in their adulthood, right? Obviously violent relationships and so forth. So yeah, it's very important to kind of you know, just heal yourself, and you know, everyone does it in different ways. Some people do it with meditation. I personally, not saying I've gone through so much, because there's so many people that have gone through way more than I have. You know what I mean? I've pretty much had a great life compared to many people, even though yes, there's been, you know, ups and downs or whatnot, and everyone has that. We're human beings, we're gonna go through stuff. And you know, past relationships that affect your relationship now, it can do, because how you was before. But yeah, it's all about self-growth, it's all about trying to change, and yeah, you know, that's about it. But yeah, it's just very important to talk about these things. I think I might do another part of this, because I think this is very deep. I think many people go through a lot of these stuff, these things in life, and yeah, I just feel like it's very important. This is something that I could talk about for probably about an hour, because there's many things I didn't really touch on correctly and properly, and I didn't really do it justice. So next time, hopefully, God willing, yeah, so I hope it benefited you in some type of way. Feel free to leave a comment, you know, and you know, I could respond by making a video, or respond, you know, in comment form, and even a video as well, because I feel like this is very important, this topic. And you know, a lot of people going through some craziness, right? And so even right now, as you see this video, you might have just gone through some crazy stuff, right? And yeah, it's just good to engage and talk to people and let them know how you feel and what you've gone through. And yeah, so that's it for now. But yeah, that was obviously MadeMuscle motivation, also to motivate you and help you deal with your problems, because you need to be motivated. You need to be motivated in order to deal with your problems. You have to feel some type of enthusiasm. You have to feel charged up to make a change. That's reality. So with that being said, see you guys soon. Peace.